We are live. This is the market update. Is it over? Is the war over in the mind of the crypto market? Is oil going to $300? That was the question yesterday, Sunday night. The question on Monday is, will it crash? I'll let you know. I made a video. Will oil go to $300? We'll see how many hits it gets. If it gets too many hits, oil's going to crash. Can you believe it? Now, we'll talk about my personal opinion. We'll go over what we think is happening through the fog of war, keeping in mind that nothing is what it seems. To review, in case you've been out of pocket, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, gentlemen. So if you were out of pocket yesterday, I think Thursday was World War III, right? Friday or Saturday, it was over in a day. Yesterday, it was totally over. Crypto is smoking, led by XRP. And the current geopolitical talk is because of the nature of radiation, Iran's enemies were always going to know when they were close to having a weapons capability. So it was pre-programmed that as soon as they got to that point, they were going to get launched on. Now, are they going to get launched on by just Israel, or are we going to get involved? What are the Chinese going to have to say about it? My guess is one more scare, and that's probably correct. And in classic crypto fashion, the crypto market doesn't care. The next pivot by the administration is towards crypto, particularly since Michael Saylor is now advising Pakistan formally on creating a Bitcoin economy. Pakistan, who is also simultaneously threatening to nuke Israel. I think you buy the Bitcoin before you go nuclear, but okay. So we got a lot of sad stuff, a lot of serious stuff. Crypto, as usual, is probably rallying in advance of this either getting more serious or ending. I don't like assuming it's just going to end right this second. However, crypto does want to go up. Okay, Ben here from Down Under. Good evening, sir. MJ Hits, Hal Lopez from Portugal. Sir, when we meet in person one day, you can tell me how to actually pronounce your name. That also goes for Zob. Roby, what's up? Right? What are the prospects on stocks? Dude, it depends on oil. It does. Stocks never budged. It's one of the reasons why I think the market's a little too complacent about the situation. We'll go through it. Miguel Zepedas, Kevin from Lakeland, Florida, Jacob, Thomas, what's up? How you doing? Okay. News, let's go. Okay, so CoinShares just filed for a Solana ETF, hence the XRP rally. I have absolutely no idea why anybody was selling Ethereum, Solana, or XRP off this conflict. Bitcoin, okay, maybe, because it's a consensus long. Nobody owns XRP except retail. Institutions do not own XRP. And institutions probably don't own Solana either because Solana hasn't done anything. And ETH has been radioactive. You know, BlackRock has been hoovering up ETH, probably as hedge funds puke it out, or whoever is puking it out. Who owns Solana and XRP? Nobody. Nobody. Okay, so Mike is at it again. This guy's conviction is unwavering. I retweeted his tweet about buy Cyber Manhattan because that's what he calls Bitcoin. Only so many skyscrapers, only so much land, only so many Bitcoin. Some guy commented that Saylor's going to wind up in Gitmo. I saw another pretty reputable guy saying Bitcoin has topped and it's a repeat of 2021. If anybody thinks it's topped, it hasn't topped. It only tops when no one thinks it's topped. Truly incredible. Oil has completely erased all overnight gains and gone negative. Some of Iran's largest oil and gas facilities are shut down and destroyed, or so we're told. It's really not difficult to shut down an oil refinery, set a fire, and make it look like, oh my God, you don't know. Like I said, if oil facilities were really down, oil be at 100. And again, you don't know, that can still happen. You know, the ultimate in oil, I'm going to give it to you like real quick. I should give you the long story, but I'm not. I'm not. Perfection in oil is a huge spike, a lot of fear, and then a crash. That's perfection. In the meantime, I think everybody is just like, I'm not trading XRP, Solana, and ETF off any of this macro baloney because it doesn't matter. Because the administration's next pivot after this mess, right? Like, how many people are deceased over this? And was it even necessary? I don't know. What does the market know? I'll tell you what the market knows. It's very simple. When everyone's looking for $300, the market is afraid of an oil crash. That's what the oil market's really afraid of at the moment. They're afraid that, it should have gone up and it didn't. So if it's supposed to go up and it doesn't, what's it going to do? It's going to crash. I didn't make that video yet. I saved that for you guys, right? In other words, if this is really over, oil's going back to 50. Now, naturally, the counter argument is that, because you had Israeli jets in the sky, or our jets aren't there yet, they saved all of their major hypersonic missiles because they're actually trying to preserve them. They don't want to shoot everything because if they do that, then they're going to get wiped out. The Iranians' big weapons are still waiting. And really, all you're watching now, even though it looks really bad, is you're really looking at like a warm-up, right? Like, the Iranians have much bigger, badder missiles, and the Israelis have every air refueling tanker taking off in the United States. So the assumption that this is just completely over, while is great for like a nice crypto rally today, and who knows, maybe it just keeps going. I mean, hopefully nobody puked out longs on this, not spot longs. Because the next administration pivot is to crypto. It's just the only question is what happens with oil and what happens with stonks. So if Alex Jones is talking about 300 oil, I think it's more reasonable to talk about 80 or 100 and have that stick. It's the other thing about oil, right? Like, what would not be so good for crypto if oil went to 80 or 100 and just stuck there, right? That would also be terrible for stonks. XRP, Solana, and ETH, in my mind, are outside of all of that. So much for tariff hyperinflation. Again, groupthink. New inflation numbers are low, right, but prices didn't go down, dude. Texas barbecue didn't go back to being affordable, just so you know. Okay, but, groupthink, you have to avoid groupthink. World War III, oil $300, it's the end of the world. Bitcoin's going to 97. It's a cycle top. I've seen that. I don't know if that's groupthink yet. Okay, so this is from a guy who's out of Austin, George Freeman. And he's like the geopolitics psychic, right? And he talks about how Russian intelligence failed badly on this last thing with the Ukrainian drones. Putin must do something, but at this point, he has not. The fact that, he doesn't know what else the Ukrainians have got in Russia for an encore. But where the outcome in Iran was hardwired, the question of Putin's next move is not. So wouldn't it be really funny if the Russians got involved in this as payback for whatever's going on in the Ukraine? You got to leave a little bit of room for supplies. Now, again, he is also noting, and again, this is where I go back to ETH, XRP, Solana. I don't care. I don't care. Because, the Iranian thing was pre-programmed, right? They get weapons. They get to a certain point with the weapons grade stuff, and everyone launches. Okay, great. Was that necessary? I doubt it. They can't defend their airspace. They're going to make a giant nuclear bomb. I don't know. IDF claims major breakthrough. They control the skies. Or they're saving their stuff. Fourth day, no deal in sight. The Iranians have no incentive to negotiate. They want them at the negotiating table, but they have no incentive to negotiate unless we're talking to a totally different group of people, which is what the Kool-Aid overnight was about, right? So everything is up this morning because they're assuming the top guy in charge is either dead, going to get thrown out, and there's going to be a whole new people going to walk in and go, hey, guys, just kidding on the 40 years of, aggressive radical ideology. We're going to do something different. Okay. I mean, as one guy said to me, if that's what's actually going to happen, then you're looking at the biggest crypto rally you've ever seen. It'll just go vertical. Because that's what happened at the end of another crisis that I recently wrote about. So Iran conflict ensnares energy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Energy. No impact whatsoever. And for your comic relief, more grift. Okay. Trump mobile phone service with devices made in America. I mean, eventually we'll get to the Bitcoin strategic reserve after we're done with what's called just grift. I mean, after watching that army parade, I'm a super patriotic guy. That made me want to cry. I know guys who can march better than the guys who were marching. I could have told them who to call. Again, with some of this stuff, it doesn't matter what the outcome of the war is when you watch sovereign behavior. And then if they're going to start throwing in the Solana and XRP ETF as their, buy the Solana ETF, get a Trump phone free. If we get some of that going, yeah. Not selling any of that stuff at all. Right. Okay. So they hit an energy refinery over in Israel. I don't know why Israel would capitulate and negotiate after something like that happening. Right. It's like they got to go all the way now. That's what it feels like to me. Europe has got problems. All of this Iranian energy, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it out the door or not. Everyone's like, well, everyone was a geopolitical expert over the weekend, of course, right? Twitter is an expert. What is it? M2, tariffs. Everybody was an expert over the weekend on the Strait of Hormuz. Everybody's got it all. Yeah. Okay. We got to start thinking about the unintended consequences, right? Like Putin or the Chinese having something to say about this. And, like I said, this will make the case for crypto. It will. Even if there's like another, oh my God. On like a side note, if there is a reason to stop this, I watched a video on RealFly. Somebody, trying to get viral, taking video, and their house gets hit by or in proximity to one of these hypersonic things. So they get hit, camera's still rolling, and basically you're listening to a horror movie. You listen to like 2 minutes of people screaming. Sovereigns, right? Going back and forth for what? They used to go back and forth with little like toy rockets with Hezbollah. Now they're doing this. And how much longer can this go on before it gets serious? In other words, the market wants it over today. Okay, great. And what happens if we're still talking about it in 3 days? Then what? Well, one thing that could happen is people just look at it and go, I'm done with these guys. I'm done with governments. I'm done with everything we got told. How about this, like, MAGA bag of donuts that we got served about no more conflicts and Bitcoin strategic reserve? I mean, the governments are going to moon our bags. They're going to moon our bags by their behavior and leaving all of these poor people underneath here. I mean, can you imagine being downrange of this? I mean, it was like hot take in LA, firecrackers get thrown at the SWAT team. This is materially more serious, right? So the longer it goes on, the bigger the case for crypto. Okay, huge refueling tankers are airborne, right? So our entire refueling system is up and running, either because we're going to be refueling their jets or ours, theirs as in the Israelis. So, they're going to go after the Iranians with everything they got. And I don't understand why everyone thinks that it's automatically over. Like, I guess the Iranians look at this and go, do we really want to have this leader? The market has a really active imagination, right? I think the market should just say, no matter what, we want crypto. No matter what, we want altcoins. I know that sounds insane. When do you buy altcoins? When it's insane, right? When no one would touch them. That's what's happening. Literally. That's what's happening. Who would touch them? Nobody. That's why they're going up. XRP. Figures, right? No one wants XRP. They do the Solana ETF. XRP could go to $3 before a pause. Okay, so Iran could have had weapons-grade uranium in 2 or 3 days. Okay, well, what are they going to do with it, man? Wad it up and put it in a slingshot? I don't know. I mean, they do have missiles. I get it, but a lot of people are passing away here, and we're taking everyone's word for it on that. Okay, International Energy Agency, more propaganda, says, they haven't observed any damage. There's no damage. It was like, oh, they took out the reactor in 1 day. No, they didn't. More comedy. Pakistan says they will nuke Israel. Pakistan engages Michael Saylor. So we're doing radical religious Middle East ideology and buying Bitcoin. Dude, just buy Bitcoin, all right? It's like, just buy Bitcoin. Okay, so, now there is something very important about this, though. There's an unintended consequence here. If Mike is working with Pakistan and the Trump kids are selling mobile phones and not working with Michael Saylor on our sovereign wealth fund, which, just kind of went away, $20 billion a month or something in tariff money, that should go in the sovereign wealth fund, right? They should be buying crypto, stonks, whatever. It should be a fund. So Mike is working with Pakistan. Why isn't Mike full-time red, white, and blue getting us ready? I don't know. That's a good question, right? So, Syria is okay with Israel using its airspace. This is the reminder, just so you know the politics of the region, that the Iranians are not Arabs, right? They're Shiites. So the Arab world doesn't really like the Iranians that much. That's why, you're getting cooperation. Like, supposedly the Saudis, they're condemning it in public, but behind the scenes, they're like, yes. That's why you get a change in Iranian leadership. I mean, if the weekend Kool-Aid is in fact what is the beverage of choice, crypto's not going to stop. You might get one more dip. Again, XRP, Solana, and Ethereum. I mean, even if there is another nasty scare, looks like fading the war FUD was indeed the right move. War lows are in. Plus, there's a lot of underexposed sideline capital that de-risked and stayed out because of the war. A lot of meme coins are starting to look pretty good. Can't shake that vibe that things could get a lot more exciting a lot faster than most are expecting. I mean, I can only tell you what I did. I bought ETH the day after this. That's what I did. I was like, okay, you know what? You have ETH at, ETH was headed for 3,000 on a line and you stopped and went to 24 something. You got to take it. And then you just take your chances that it's not the end of the world because it's already been the end of the world in ETH. Solana has done nothing. XRP has everyone bored to tears. Bored to tears. And sovereigns continue to behave worse and worse and worse. I think the biggest catalyst for crypto of the day is Trump Mobile. I mean, how far can they take the shameless grift? How far can they take it before somebody just goes, you know what? I'm buying crypto. I'm done. Have fun with the dollar. Have fun with the treasuries. Have a nice day. The dollarization of cryptocurrency continues, acting as both an opportunity and a risk. So the dollar is simultaneously being devalued and perhaps saved by stablecoins. Either way, the dollar has to go lower, right? When you create stablecoins, you'll be printing the dollar, right? It's got to go lower. We're not competitive, right? If the dollar goes lower, U.S. goods will be competitive and you won't have to have the tariff nightmare. You won't. European natural gas prices extend gains. So it's not in crude, but it's in gas. And it's in Europe where they can't afford this because, again, their economic relationship with the Russians went kaput when the pipeline got blown up. Again, unintended consequences. Do we have to worry about it? Not this second. Okay. But again, we went from World War III to everything is fine. We went from World War III to buy XRP in 3 days. Now, if this is still going on 3 days later, what could happen 3 days from now? My guess is a scare in oil. It feels binary to me. It feels like oil's either going to 100 or 50, and there's no in between. Bitcoin breakout incoming. So the quieter it is, this is like the talk of the day. The quieter it is, the more likely a breakout will come. Generally speaking, I don't like triangles in crypto. I don't. A lot of times these triangles resolve to the downside. I don't like triangles in crypto. I like squares. So, cool TA for Twitter. It's never worked. Now, this is working, right? The money supply graph. So, again, people in crypto are money supply experts. Powell is out this week. I think one of the things you have to associate with this crypto move could be Powell putting high-powered money in, knowing that there could be another escalation. I literally just thought of that right now. Now, as people may not realize that the reason altcoins are moving is because the Fed's in. The Fed's in with high-powered money. Stocks are up overnight. If the Fed wants it to go up, the Fed can make it go up. This is what, nobody knows why it bottomed in 2023, I think. It's because they wanted everybody to have a Merry Christmas the year before the election, right? They wanted a Merry Christmas because it was the last Christmas of the administration, and the Fed just put the pedal to the metal, and Sui went from, Solana went from $20 to $200. Boom. If they want it to go up, it'll go up. Right? I mean, what's the bigger risk in the mind of Powell, right? That you have some kind of like meltdown because this gets worse, or they're just like, yeah, we're going to put the money in now. And then we'll let everybody go, oh, are they lowering rates or what's the betting odds? Oh, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Crypto keeps going. The Fed's in. And people will eventually figure that out. Right? But, I looked at this morning and I'm like, well, I don't think this geopolitical thing is over. Exactly. That's why the Fed is in. 12, is that billion? $12 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts liquidated at 115. You know what I'm saying? Like all the talk over the weekend, it's a cycle top. It's a double top. It's just like 2021. Want. They may go get those stops and then go down. It wouldn't be shocking. Or they just make it very painful for the shorts, right? First, the longs got hosed. Now the shorts can watch this grind back to 110. All these cycle top characters. Painful, right? This type of environment is P&L destruction, right? Guys who think they can trade it, go back and forth, or guys who are like buying strength and selling weakness, it doesn't work. It's like the market gets everybody, right? I mean, who guys were probably FOMOing into oil on Friday, thinking that they were going to wake up today and it was going to be at 200. And now they'll have to sell. And then there'll be people who puke it out today. And who knows, maybe they're puking it out into support. Fear greed is at 61. You really can't tell anything's happening, right? Like nobody in crypto is really impressed with the whole thing. It's like nothing happened. We've seen this before. It's the 5th time we've had World War III, and it's true. It is the 5th time. TikToker kidnapped in France. Over 50K in crypto. There's now going to be a thing like diversification in crypto. Like everybody thinks it's unthinkable to keep your crypto in a bank vault. Guess what? You may have to start keeping some crypto in a bank vault. Metaplanet overtakes Coinbase. Supposedly the spread on Coinbase to buy Bitcoin is like, if you want to buy, it's 109. If you want to sell, it's 103. In some ways, I think the Bitcoin market on exchanges is like breaking, right? You got to get your money off exchanges. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to get it out of there. If Metaplanet is already bigger than Coinbase, I look at this and I know Mike Novogratz at Galaxy Digital is doing well, going public and being like an AI data center dude, but can't believe he got rid of Bitcoin mining for that. Jeez. Bitcoin price signal goes off, is a surge ahead. Okay. So, MACD, like the Williams Awesome Oscillator, when you get MACD at 0, you can get big moves. You can get big moves. If this is over, like I said, in no way, shape, or form, I think, was this a sell event. If it was a sell, it was a sell event in equities. It was a sell event in equities. For us, I don't know. Here we go. Want a case to buy crypto? Here it is. Los Angeles residents record what the mall looks like right now in downtown LA. Every store is boarded up. It's closed. It's closed. Like, this goes back to like the dollar, the treasuries. This could also be what's happening, right? It's called the Minsky moment, where everybody just goes, you know what? We've transformed from normal to not normal, and we're buying crypto. And if oil goes up and there's more geopolitical nonsense, crypto just may be like, F you, we're going up. That's possible. It's also possible you have chunky volatility back and forth. But still, if you were long, why get out? Why get out? I like this. So, Bitcoin is digital gold and ETH is now digital oil. So everyone's doing marketing now. ETH is a network that runs finance, right? No one's going to trade on a network that can break. They'll pay to do it on ETH, and they can do it on layer 2s. And if you have massive volume on layer 2s, that value will eventually translate to ETH holders. I mean, if you want to be honest, the fact that ETH was already depressed kind of held up the whole market on the downtrade. I mean, what were they going to do with altcoins? I mean, again, altcoins can swing 5% in either way, but why was everyone negative again? You need a nuclear detonation to have something negative happen. I'm not seeing that. I'm not. Now, that doesn't mean it can't get worse. Because again, the market's up, everything's great. 3 days from now, what are we looking at? I think it takes 2 weeks for something like this. Cuban Missile Crisis took 13 days. Even if it takes 6, I don't think it ends in 3 days. Bitcoin's summer lull offers inexpensive trading opportunity. I got some ideas about what Bitcoin is going to do in the fourth quarter. I think this market is doing what they've done to us in altcoins. It's just going to make you wait. Everyone knows it's going to happen, so they're going to make you wait. Hong Kong, first company to start buying Solana. Stablecoins are going to run on Solana, ETH, and XRP. Circle started running on XRP Ledger, and no one noticed because we were too busy being Strait of Hormuz experts. Okay. Meanwhile, you know, XRP is on the move. So are the XRP price targets. I'd settle for $3. You know, is a major market move imminent? Probably, right? Probably. 2 billion in trading volume in the last 24 hours. This company's going to get taken over. I mean, Ripple is going to get taken over. Somebody is going to come in and pay an absurd amount of money for Ripple. These Silicon Valley guys are paying $100 million for AI scientists. Do you think they care? The same guy paid $19 billion for an app and shut it down temporarily. He just bought it and shut it down. No, he shut it down. He just bought it and forgot about it. And then didn't get back into it until everyone realized that that was like the hip thing. But the good thing was he owned it and he didn't care what he paid for it. He didn't care. CoinShares files for the Solana ETF. And this could be what gets XRP going, right? I know we started with this, but okay. So if we go to DeMark, right? All right. So this is XRP as a reminder, right? So we're in a geopolitical situation. So you were supposed to buy the 9 bottom. This is classic range trading. DeMark, by the way. So 9 bottom in a range, buy. 9 top, sell. 9 bottom, buy. Right? 9 bottom, buy. 9 top, sell. You know what I'm saying? Like, not sell what you're long, you know, what you're hodling, basically. But I mean, this is just tactical traders taking advantage of the ebb and flow of a situation that may not be done ebbing and flowing. Now, that said, just so you know, if XRP dips and holds and then there's good news, it'll just keep going, right? But, you know, range trading can beget more range trading. I mean, here's some really unbelievable stuff. Look at the craziness in Bitcoin Cash. Whew. You know what I'm saying? Green Bitcoin, right? Retail coming in and seeing insane spreads in Bitcoin. They're buying green Bitcoin. I'm telling you, right? This goes up, 13 top comes off. So, well, first of all, this was after the war started. So they did one blow off top. It came off. They did another one. I'm telling you, retail is after, what did they call them the first time? Dino coins? Retail's going to figure this out. Retail's going to watch all this going on. Retail's going to see the Trump phone in the middle of the geopolitical conflict they said wouldn't happen. Oh my God, I got to buy crypto. Pakistan is talking to Michael Saylor and we're not. I got to buy crypto. I mean, they're making the case for us. It's just such a shame, frankly, that all these poor people are perishing as a result of their ineptitude. Okay. So again, you know, 9 top in ETH. I think the market has made the message pretty clear in Ethereum that if you're grabbing it in this 2,400 neighborhood, I mean, grabbing it at 2,600 is really not terrible either, but you know, what's the worst case scenario? That they drop it down here and scare everybody again before they take it up, or maybe it just sits here. Right? Bitcoin. Probably boring AF. Right? Next down move is a 13 bottom on a 4-hour chart. So the next dip, they're going to be there. Even if the dip is sideways, right? The next lurch down in Bitcoin, they're going to be after it. Now, it'll probably be a big lurch down because, again, you know, everybody thinks everything is all right until it isn't. I mean, there are tons of reasons to buy crypto. Okay, oil crashing. right into Lux algo support. So again, end of the world, not end of the world. We'll see. I mean, the great news about this is that if you're long, you can probably stay that way. If you're not long, waiting or nibbling doesn't hurt. Like I don't know that you have to buy strength until, like, say 5 days from now. Give it that Cuban Missile Crisis 13 days time period. I think it's a really excellent movie about how scary the Cuban Missile Crisis really was, called 13 Days. I would actually check that out, right? Because, if 13 days is true, if 13 days applies here, right, that means the real scare is at the end. You can't have the really big rally without having the really big scare first. Otherwise, I'd be, full crazy bullish. But, like I said, I bought ETH the second day, and I'm going to ride out, whatever crisis they have the second time around, because they're inept. It's that simple. Okay. All right, folks. It's a geopolitical environment. It probably sounded like I talked out of both sides of my mouth. So let's review. If oil cracks 70 and this is over, oil will crash. If oil holds at 70 or 71, be careful of groupthink either way, right? Groupthink in January was the government's going to moon our bags. Groupthink later is the government's going to moon our bags by being inept, right? It's your market. It's your time. Just a question of when they're done scaring all of us. Because if they want you afraid, that's how they control you. And the way you fight that control is to grab crypto when and how you can. Today it's up. That's awesome. If it's not up in 2 days, that's more awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.